Hi, my name is Nia, and I'm presenting the everlasting effects of video games for my MCOM 1330 Section O2 class. So what are video games? Video games is an interactive digital entertainment experience that you can play via computer, video game console, or phone, and they've been entertaining children and adults since the 1970s. So there's so many different types of video games. The most popular is being action games with 26.9%, shooter games with 20.9%, and role-playing games with 11.3%. So the stance that I'm going to be taking today is that video games have a positive impact on society. They have positive impacts on childhood development, problem-solving skills, mental health, or being a mood booster, and they inspire persistence. So the benefits on child development is it's actually quite crazy because you wouldn't believe that video games is something that can develop your child, but it actually is when used correctly. Like, child's minds are so easily influenced when they're younger, and they can assist in developing manual dexterity, which is associating movement with your hands with actions, and they teach about history and culture depending on the games that you're playing. They can enhance leadership skills, improve children's memorization skills. They can actually teach you times tables and so many fundamentals that children would learn in school. You can learn them a little earlier by playing games for children. So problem solving. A majority of video games are mission-based, so they encourage players to find new and interactive ways to beat levels. A lot of video games have multiple paths to unlock new or different endings. So then players have to find out the best way to beat the game or a new way to beat the game in order to have different achievements or tokens or anything. And it also boosts communications and teamwork skills. So if you're working on, let's say Call of Duty is a very famous one, you get on a team with a bunch of your friends and you guys have to defeat the other team. But in order to do that, you have to be constantly communicating. So that truly does help with communication skills and working and team leading. So video games can be a mood booster. They're very helpful for mental health. They actually become a very big escape for some players, and they do help players with trauma and beating mental disorders such as anxiety, depression, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder or ADHD, and post-traumatic stress disorder. This is because they allow you to go outside of yourself and really zone in and focus on something that's not what you're going through. And it kind of gives, for anxiety and depression, it gives you a sense of purpose. If you're playing a game with multiple other people, you can't let them down, and it gives you something to focus on, and it gives you something that you enjoy to keep your mind off of all of the things that are harmful. It also helps us by using a similar system to rewards. If you do well, you get a token, or you unlock a skill, or you beat the game, and that just really boosts high energy and positivity within oneself. So another reason why video games are good is that they inspire persistence. When playing video games, a player must be able to accept defeat and understand that I'm not going to beat the level at the first time. So it teaches you about how important it is to persist even when you fail. And so some of those games take years for people to play and to finish and to defeat all of the ways to play the game. So it really does inspire persistence within some. So some of the negatives, or the biggest negative connotation around video games, is definitely that it induces violence. Many people believe that video games lead to violence, which is not fully untrue. Sometimes when a child or an adolescent is influenced by video games, it can kind of turn your mind more negative. But studies have shown that it is truly based on the personality of someone. Experimental studies show the potential short-term effects on brief exposures to video games and experimental aggressive behaviors. So brief exposures is very short-lapsed. So you can have negative outbursts, but it truly just does depend on the demeanor of a person, which is why we should always make sure you listen to the ratings, whether it's mature or the age groups, and we just make sure we consider what we are playing and what we are putting in front of us to absorb. So, in my personal opinion, playing video games can be extremely beneficial in moderation, just like all things are beneficial in moderation. I've definitely personally seen video games ruin somebody's life, but the reason I didn't take that stance upon it is because it had to do everything with the type of person that that person was and nothing to do with the video games. When you have an obsessive personality, video games are something that's very easy for you to get into. It's very mindless and it's not mindless. It can be mindless if you get really good at it. And people allow that to overrun themselves and overrun their life. And so the reason I chose my stance is because like I've seen that it can do that, but I also completely agree with the fact that it has everything to do with the type of person that you are. I think that playing video games can be an amazing escape for some people. It's something that builds a lot of confidence. It builds a lot of social skills too. I know so many people who have met friends through gaming. We have an esports team on campus. I think that gaming can be something really beneficial when used correctly. Thank you.